Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to my stream. Welcome to another chapter. Working on this guy here. That's our A-10C Thunderbolt 2 by Great Wall Hobbies. It's a 148 scale kit, and we'll run the intro and we'll get started. Okay guys, we are back and we're going to continue on with this. Last time we started working on the flaps a little bit, getting these pieces all assembled in here and getting those done. Okay, so that kind of turned out to be like something like this, and also this piece here. So I did these on camera last time. Nice six-pack. Thanks, Uella. Thank you. So we got these done. I did the other side off camera. Okay, so I actually have two sets. Okay, so with this done, we're going to look at, well, it's actually this side done. So we flip the page, and now we're going to put it in the actual plane. And we're going to need a couple more pieces. So we're going to grab A-19 and A-18. 19 and 18. So let's grab those off of our A tree. Grab all these out of here. A tree. We want, what was it? 18 and 19. Let's find them on here. 3 and 4, 10 and 9, 18 and 19. And I already painted them. How about that? Let me change the camera so you can see what I'm doing here. How about that? That's a little better. Okay, getting these off of the sprues. There's one. Two. Okay. So, before I really get into this, change the glasses out here. Okay. We've got nubs to clean. If you don't clean up the nubs, she won't fit together properly. And the last thing you want is for it to not fit together. Now, just looking at this and the way this is supposed to go together, it is a little unfortunate that, you know, I have this pre-painted, and yet I think it's actually something I'm going to have to mask when I paint this guy. When I actually paint the fuselage and paint this plane the colors it's supposed to be in. Because the inside of this is supposed to be the light ghost gray, right? But that means I'm going to have to mask, because I'm going to have to paint this, and I guarantee you, if I don't mask it, I'm going to get some color on it that I don't want to have. Okay, so I don't know which is 19 and 18 now, so I get to have some fun and try and figure this out. So we're going by our diagram here. I don't want this piece, I want this one, based on how this part is compared to the picture. So we're going to go with that. And we've got to grab the corresponding piece here, which is going to be, looks like this one. This one here, based on, again, just matching it up with the diagram. We got our piece hanging off on the right there, right? And that's going to match there. So it looks like we've got two little notches there where this is going to go in like this, and we're going to line up like that, just like this on there. And then A-19, which looks like this piece here, A-19, is going to go on the bottom like this. like that. This is where, there we go. It almost sits there on its own. Now what's kind of sad, they don't do the color code. They only do the color code out on those, not on this piece. I would expect that this should be, because these are going to sit like that. Okay, that's how it's going to sit together. But I would think the inside of this would be the same color as this. So why are they not telling me to paint this the C308 or light ghost gray? And it's the same on this one. They don't tell you to paint the underside of that at all. So why? Why? I do not know. And they don't mention anything about a color call out for the inside of this at all. And of course, if you did want to have this displayed with the flaps down, this would go together something like this, in a similar way, something like that. But we would have done something totally different with this, right? Because you can't put this in and have these things all sticking out, because that would just be totally wrong, right? That's not going to work. So yeah. So what we're going to do is put this in the wing first. And so it goes on this side, and we're going to line it up. It's going to go in like this. See how well this fits in there. Try and get that lined up in there. It's a little bit tight and funky here. There we go. We're going. That is a really tight fit, but it's in there. Although this piece is not sitting right at all. This has been bent. I don't know if I just did that doing this. We're going to see here. Did I bend that up when I was doing this? This really is a tight fit in here. There's not really any room for playing around. I don't think I did bend it, but we're going to bend it back, and he's going to go in his little slot like he's supposed to. The good news is the top fits fine, and I don't have any bent piece here. So we're going to do some glue, and we're going to move this out of my way so that I can actually maneuver here. Sometimes when you've got an instruction booklet as big as this one, it kind of gets in your way a little bit. This guy needs to be kind of convinced to sit flush. I'm going to see if I can put a clip on him. Doesn't really do anything. Let's try this clip. Yeah, that helps. Okay. And help hold them in place there. Okay. While we're at it, we're waiting for that to dry. I might as well put the other one in on this side. Okay, again, I'm going to be really careful here. Do a little bit by a little bit. Get that notched in there where it's supposed to go. There's like zero tolerance on this piece. There we go. We are in. Okay. Glue up here first. And we'll do the underside. There we go. Okay, so those two are glued in now. Nice and tight. They ain't going nowhere. And I think that's good enough. Yep, they don't move. It's just the way it is. Okay. Now, fortunately, when we get this painted and everything, you're not going to see that little stress crack right there. It's not broken off, but it was really close. Okay. So we were looking at these two pieces here. This guy here goes on the top, like so. You can just kind of line it up like this. Do that. It does kind of tuck in and touch right there. So that's good. That gives me 3 points to glue it on and not just rely on that. Okay. But because of the delicate nature of this, when I'm doing masking and painting, I kind of want to do this. I don't want to glue this on right away because of how delicate that's going to be. These are going to be sticking up and sticking out proud like that. Right? That's going to be sitting like this on here, like this, and that's kind of sticking up proud, and that's going to get bumped. I know I'm going to bump it, right? I can show you that's what it's going to look like. That's what it's supposed to look like. But just like that, that's one side. But I don't want to glue this yet because, yeah, I've got lots of painting to do. So I'm going to leave these off for now. These are going to go in my little pile of to-do parts while we flip the page and look at what's next. Okay, so pay attention here. This is the open state, like I'm doing these two here. That's going to be your left and your rights. And then if you wanted to do them closed, like maybe the plane's in flight, you would have them closed. And that's this here, which continues on the next page, putting them in after you got it assembled. So, step 35, we've got tail fins, which means this guy can go off to the side right now as we look at the tail fins off of our C's and our B tree. So let's take a look at these. C and B. CB. Here's our B tree. There's only two parts left, and of course that's for our tail fins. So this is number 2. We'll deal with this one in a minute. We'll get number 3 out of here. There we go. This sprue is done. I'm just going to quickly cut this up a little bit here so it's a little more manageable. There we go. Okay. And with these lovely knobs everywhere, this looks a little unique. It looks like it's molded in on a part that I'm supposed to keep, but when I look at the diagram, it's not. So off you go. And then of course the top one. Let's clean this up. I do like it when they give you an option, like when this piece is separate. I love that when the manufacturers do that for you. I don't like it when they put a great big knob on a face that's going to be seen. But I do like the fact that I can glue this in at a slightly not perfect angle. There we go. Okay, so this one's done. Let's get rid of those. We got to get C10 and C13. Here's our C tree. 10 and 13. So here's number 10. And we need 13, which is our last one on here. Okay. We will be coming back to this in a minute. Let's see, are we undergated? Yes, we are. They're nice enough to undergate this. That also means we got to get rid of these knobs on the underside. Otherwise, she will not fit together at all. That also means we need to smooth this down. Okay. You guys with a keen eye, you might notice I get extra parts on my desk here almost every single time. That's because I am playing around with some 3D printing, getting my feet wet in that whole world, the world of 3D printing. Okay, so that was a good little test fit. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in here, kind of do this. With this being really thin, I have a tendency to dry real quick, especially I've got fans going in my room right now. Just do that, run some along this edge, and all the way around, make sure we've got a good bond. Squeeze, make sure it's nice and tight. It fits really good. There's no flashing, no nothing. It fits perfect. Then we have this piece going to go on the end. Now this is what I was talking about. You get to put this in any position you want. Well, it's actually, there's not a lot of movement, but I'm going to have it cocked just a little bit like that. I like to have that. I don't like to have it perfectly straight. I want to have it just kind of cocked a little bit. Sometimes I just do lay it flat because this does come to a point. You notice that's a point there. It's fat on this end, but then it comes to a point here. So I could just line it up so that it's flat on this one side. That gives it just that little bit of a bend, but not crazy. So if I just do this, put a little glue there, and on our hinges, that gives us the look that they've been turned in. It gives it the look. Let me get in there. It looks like it's been turned in, but it's really just straight on this one edge, right? That's all it is. I'm just going to make sure by putting it down on a flat surface and just go boink, so like that. And that's how we're going to do it, just like that. So put this to the side over here and leave it like that. Let that dry. Okay, and that's it for this page. Obviously, this is the left one. We're going to do the right one next. Well, they want us to do other things, but I'm going to do the right one first, because I want to get it glued. So we need C11 and 12, if you're counting backwards. Okay, and then obviously our other guy here. Okay. Trim these off. Okay. Clean up. Our razor file did a lovely job on this on the other one, so we're just going to rely on it to do this one too. And up here. And this one. Okay, she's ready. Now here's the drawback to undergating. The drawback to undergating is sometimes when you nip that nub off, you actually take a tiny little chunk out of the edge, and that can be detrimental. Fortunately, it's on the bottom edge of this wing, so it's fine. I'm not gonna. It's not a noticeable. It's not an edge that's going to be seen, unless you're really paying attention to it. I don't think anybody's going to be paying attention to the bottom side of the tail fin that closely that you're going to notice, hey, there's a little tiny nick out of there. Speaking of nicks, get that file down. Okay, she's glued. Now I'm going to do the exact opposite with this one. I'm going to put this in here and put them down like this. Actually, my mat is a little bit not quite flat, but it's close enough. So let's do this. I'm going to get it on the flat surface here. There we go. So we could do that. Just a little bit more there. There we go. Okay. One thing I didn't do on the other side, I didn't do this side. I didn't glue this side, and I should have. So, but this one should have hardened by now, so I can get in here and just make sure that's all nice and glued in. Okay, that's nice and solid. So these are going to sit and kind of dry a little bit now. And we'll take a look at this. So they want us to put photo etch on these, and I'm just going to double check. This is on the outside of the wing, and this is where we actually don't have any detail. We got no detail on this, which means putting the photo etch actually is beneficial on this. But before I break out my CA glue, and start playing around with that. We're going to put our actual wings together. C7 and C8, and we're going to do C4. Not the explosive kind. But we're going to do 7 and 8. This is number 7. And we want number 8. This guy here. And we need number 4. And that's you. Now be careful when you're cutting number 4 off. You don't want to cut these off. Those are not nubs. These are supposed to be there. So, there you go. Okay. And it looks like these may have been undergated. Yep, they were undergated. I thought I had 3 nubs on here. Is that a nub? That might be a nub. No, maybe not. These were definitely nubs. Let's do a little test fit. Because I don't remember. I wasn't paying attention, okay? Yeah, the way they show it here, we've got 2 and 2, and this guy is going to slot in there. This. Okay, so what I was thinking might have been a nub was this little second one here. That's not a nub. So I just need to make sure this is good. Yeah, stab myself. That's a good job. No, you don't want to get stabby. That's not a good thing. Okay. So these two go together, just like I had them when I was dry fitting. I clean up this nub here. Oh, got a nub right in there you do need to clean up. Leading edge, that should be nice and smooth. Okay, this little nub right in here. This edge should be nice and smooth and kind of rounded. So just give her a little bit of a file treatment there. That should be nice and smooth. Okay. Now this guy, again, putting the nub right there. It's not the greatest thing in the world. This one I'm just going to chop off. And then this one on the edge too. Okay, so now this is ready to go in. And similar to the other one, this is the top edge here. This should be on the top, this little ball. Okay, they show this is, well actually no, that's wrong. This wing is upside down. I say it's upside down because airplane wings typically have a kind of a flat edge and then a more rounded edge. And this, you can see even in the picture, the more rounded edge is at the bottom of the wing. I did not know that about the A-10. I've gone and learned something today. When I look at this cutout, that's right, the top edge is a lot more flat than the bottom edge. That is interesting. So that means this is going to sit like that, which means I want this facing down just a little bit. I want it as down as I can get it without it coming out of its slot. They don't really have this designed to really be really flexible. Like, you've got very minimal play in this. I'm going to grab the other side and just see what I can afford to maybe trim out of here. Maybe I can trim the top of these little tabs so that allow a little more movement upwards, or maybe I can dig in the top here a little bit to allow the top corner of the tab to go up. Maybe just shave off the, trim off the top corner of the tab like this. Make it so that instead of it being straight out like this, it's more of an angle like that, but you can still see the little knobs as they stick in there, right? So that these don't get taken off completely. I'm going to take a look. The other side, let's see here. This is obviously the other ones we're going to use on this side. So this one is the bottom. That's the bottom piece. And this is the top. So let's just have a look here. That's the top. So in theory, let me get the other one off here. The last piece on the sprue. Okay, there. So this is the bottom. So this would be sitting like this, sitting here in here like this, and I want it to go up like this, like that, which means this is sitting like this, and it's kind of hitting. It hits there, so it doesn't. I can't. There's nothing for me to dig to be able to dig any hole. So my only option is to trim off the top of this a little bit. So, with this one already assembled, I'm going to trim this one down. If you can see, I'll trim one of these off, just like this. So I'll try and show you. Guys now what I've done. Okay, if the camera will focus, you can see that little tab. If I can hold this like that, I'll try and point at it. This little tab here, I've trimmed this down so it's not straight compared to this one. You see the difference there? I've trimmed that down so it's on an angle. And I'll do the same with the other one. Okay, so I'm keeping the detail that's going to be visible at the bottom. So if I wanted to put it in straight, I could, and it wouldn't affect anything at all. It would still look exactly the same. But now I should be able to, now I can point that down. I can angle this down a little bit now, just like that. And it's not really being interfered with. And that was exactly what I wanted to do. So let's put some glue on this guy. I wanted want to be able to have it pointing down without it coming out of its socket or anything like that. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. That looks much more to my liking. I wanted it pointing down, like that. The airplane is parked, the flaps are down, that's what I want. Now, let's work on the other side. Those are the only undergated ones. The other nubs. Still be a little bit careful getting rid of this one because we've got some rivet detail right here that I don't want to get rid of. I want to keep that rivet detail on there. This one is being a little bit of a challenge and not wanting to clean up. There we go. Sometimes you just have to use a knife. Sometimes it's just the way it is. Certain edges like this one I can see a bit of a seam parting line. I'll just scrape that off. Get that cleaned up. Almost ready. Now there was one of these that had a seam. I thought there was one that had a seam on the inside, but I guess I was wrong. Okay. You two go together like so. Yeah, there was a seam. See, I knew there was a nub on the other one I had to clean out of the groove. Alright. Nubs on this side will be cleaned. This guy here. Alright. Alright. Okay. This little test fit, just to make sure I've got this going right. That's not good. Okay. And we want this leading edge nice and rounded. Don't want that pointy. Alright. Test fit on this. Yep, same as the other one, just exactly the same. So I'm going to do the same treatment. Trim this down. That to give us the ability to point it down without coming out of the socket. Just like that. There we go. Just make sure she's in there tight. And lower it as much as I can. There we go. So that looks good to me. I've got two wings that have their flaps down, just like that. I like that. Now, I don't know, the thought crossed my mind just now that it's possible that on this plane, if one of these is down, the other is up, you know, kind of like the certain flaps on old, well, just about every plane. There are certain planes where if one flap is up, the other is down, and the plane is pitching, right? Is that a pitch or is that a roll? I don't know. Okay, anyway. With these assembled, these just kind of, we're going to set these aside while we put our attention back to our actual tail fins. And we're going to get our PE pieces here. It's PE 11. It's going to go on this guy here. Okay. And we got a couple of other pieces. So we got to get find our O tree, O23 and 25. Our O tree is this guy here, 23 and 25. So 23 is going to go in the front. They do have, see, they've marked it out here with a nice black marker here, but they have little kind of an engraving on here to show you exactly where they're supposed to go. It would be nice if they did something like this and had a hole and then had a peg. That would be a lot easier to line them up. But we can't have everything, can we? That's 23. And that's 25. Okay. There's little details like this that I would never have known that need to be done. Like that. I'm just going to kind of hold this here. Like this. I'll put some glue around it. That's kind of exactly where it's supposed to go. Just like that. Okay. 25. Goes in the opposite direction. Sits down. There, get him lined up like this. And that's where he sits. Just kind of press him down a little bit, make sure he's happy in his new home, and that's how he sits. Okay. The other part is M15 off of our M tree. That's those two M trees right here. I believe it's the only parts left on them. Is this guy here, M15. Just that one. And that's it for this sprue. So make sure this is flat on here. See, they were nice enough to give us a little peg to go in that hole, so you know how to line this up. Now this is something that I may have screwed myself over. because this is designed to attach into this little notch here, but now I have my wing moved. Because I've moved my wing, this doesn't quite line up into that little slot anymore. But it also is not really a factor. My wing has moved such a tiny little amount. Only I know. I'm the only one that's going to know it doesn't line up. Anybody that looks at this is not going to know. And that's alright with me. There we go. Okay, we're going to set this aside. We'll do the other side. We're doing the PE last. In case you haven't caught on to that yet, I'm doing the PE last. There's that. And that is the last of that sprue. This guy lined up on there. Yep, perfect. Okay, that's done. And we need the other O guys. The other O guys, 22 and 24, they're going to go in the same spots. I don't even need the instructions for it. Okay, not much left on our O tree, is there? So, 22, I believe it was, is going to go on the front where 23 was, or went, in the same spot. Line that up on here. Just catching it in the light so that I can see the edge of exactly where it's supposed to go. Just going to hold it there. That didn't work. Go. That's that one. This guy, get him in the right light. I need to be able to see his little outline here. Right there. There we go. Give them a little press and they're done. Okay, so now we'll go to our PE. We'll work on our PE. First thing I need to do, we're going to get rid of... See, the unfortunate part is we have no outline or guide on the actual part to show me exactly the spot where it's supposed to go. It doesn't show me exactly. There is no outline on here. Well, I guess there is actually. There's a little notch right here. Right there, there's a little notch, and there's a little notch right there. That's their way of showing me. Okay? They're little things like this. I'm going to grab a pen and I'm going to show you. On this piece, if I do this, okay, we've got our rivets that are going down like that, like this. We've got this line going across, okay. Right in here, we've got a little notch that looks like this, and a little notch that looks like this. okay? And they're right in that little spot there. And there's right there and there, okay? And that's what they're going to show us. And that's where I'm going to line up that PE, okay? So, we can put our regular glue away for a second. I'm going to put this over here. I need to get the PE out of here. The first one, I don't think it really matters. They look like they're both identical, 10 and 11. But they're calling for number 11 first. So they show you measuring it out here exactly. If you want to take measurements and measure it out, and you can see exactly that spot. But they've gone through the trouble of actually putting notches on there for me. So thank you very much for doing that. I don't have to grab a ruler and start measuring. I do have to grab my CA glue though. And hopefully my tip is not dried up. Let's see here. I think oh no, we got some coming out. That's good. Get my special little applicator. And we'll get number 11. Normally I would do this on glass, but I don't. From what I have encountered on this, our PE parts are really, the little nubs that they have attaching these on here are really light, so I don't really have to press hard at all to cut this off. That was really easy to cut those out. Hardly any pressure at all. And what I do want to do is still, they leave little nubs. So what I like to do is get my tweezers with a flat edge, get that nice and close there. And now I can file that down. I'm not going to use a file though, I'm going to use my sanding sponge. This is like, I don't know, 100 grit or something like that. There we go, just get that smooth. I don't want a nub sticking up there, it just looks unsightly. Even painting and stuff, it still looks bad. Okay. That one's done. This is number 11, this is the first one. We're going to put that there. I'm just going to clean this one up first before we move on. Put that in there. Hold on to it. Smooth that up. That there. I've got enough time to get these installed, and then I'm going to have to get going. Okay, so with that done, we're going to take this guy first. Now what I'd like to do kind of is just kind of rough up that little edge just in here, just along that line where that's going to go, just like that. Just want to rough it. I want to give the glue somewhere to go other than acting as the reason why I've been doing this is I've put PE parts on before and had them literally just fall off. A little bit of CA glue on there, and we'll grab number 11 and get that falling on there in places I don't want. Lined up. That lines up perfectly. Just trying to get it along the edge here just to make sure. This particular CA glue I'm using is super thin, so it immediately just went right underneath of it, and that's perfect. So there we go. There's our PE piece installed. Okay, let that one down. Pick this up. I'm going to move this one over to the edge here so I can grab it. Put some down here. Line it up on that corner. Right there and there. There we go. A bit of a press. Okay, do the same thing. That is my time to go. And you've got a hair on there I don't want. There we go. Okay. A little bit much. Got my finger. I got some skin on there because it dried that fast. This stuff dries so fast, guys. It is insane. But that's okay. A little bit of sanding can fix that up. Okay, that is it. And that is where I'm going to leave it. And that wasn't supposed to come out of there. Okay, so that's it. With that done, the next step is literally just to put these in like this, just like that. Your lefts and rights are pretty obvious. This isn't going to fit in here this way. Just don't fit. But that's going to be next. Is just do this, glue that in like that. You just want to retain a kind of a 90-degree angle. It does kind of sit like that, like it wants to go do 90 degrees, which is nice. So let's just do that real quick before I leave. Glue that in there like that. Some glue along this edge too, why not? We're sitting at 90 degrees, we can hold it like that. We can actually set it down. So you get that, you can sort of feel it hit a notch. Just do that. Put our wing down like this, and you can let that sit like that. Okay, I'll do the same for this one. Move the glue so that I can actually do this. Put this guy in here. You can kind of feel if you move it up and down on its axis. You can feel it. Oh yeah, it's hit both edges and it's solid, right? Like that. Go on that edge. Go on that edge. And then we can set this down. Do that. And that's that. Okay. That is it, guys. That's where I'm going to leave it for today. So yeah, we're just going to let these dry. We're going to continue on next time with more stuff. Let's take a look at what is going to be next time. Next time we're going to be actually installing the wings. We'll do the engines and the wings next time. That's going to be fun. We'll install those. And then there's more fins and things we got to put on the bottom. And then dealing with the canopy. More photo etch parts that go on the top, but I don't know if we're going to actually need them. Yes, we will, because she doesn't have, she's got the spots on the top there for the photo etch to go in. We'll put that in. So yeah, that's going to be next time, guys. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you for the comments. I've seen those comments. I haven't had a chance to reply to them all, but I do see them and I will reply. Guaranteed, 100%. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it if you hit the like button and leave comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. That would be really cool. And yeah, so we're going to see you all in the next one.